I can
Okay, you
show
show later, yeah.
I think basically it's because it's very clean and it's small. So I've looked at different JavaScript engines, V8 and other engines, and put them on MoSync, but they were simply too big. Java is very, I mean, Lua is very lightweight and very fast also. So that's one of the big advantages. It's made for being embedded. And it doesn't have much library support. But on MoSync that's not a problem, because MoSync is the libraries. It's just a matter of making bindings to the MoSync API, and then you have a library. And then Python on a chip is a small implementation of Python. Very interesting. It's these guys in Gothenburg I told you about. They are making a game in MoSync using Python. And you can actually mix Python code and C code. Looks very promising. But this is rather experimental right now. I think these are the slides, okay. So I'm simply demoing MoSync, okay. So I first make a C application and then show you some Lua. So we'll make a new project here. New project. A MoSync project. I can make bigger fonts here. Oops. Not here, but GTUG. Then I will have to choose type of project. I mean, since it's C, C++ and so on, it can be a bit confusing because it's lots of configuration. You have to set the memory, and I will show you. So we'll select something called a moblet project. So the MoSync API has different levels of abstraction, from very low level to a bit more high level. And the moblet is simply a class library where you inherit something called a moblet. So this is what we get now. So it's basically just a class here. So in order to make something happen, we do so here. Oops! This is bad. It will. Eventually it will. I can write some code.
Eventual consistency.
Yeah. I'll just do something very simple, like drawing a rectangle or something. So the MoSync API, the basis in the API is something called syscalls, and they are prefixed with MA. And MA means mobile author, which was one of the original names of MoSync. So that's not really readable, is it?
Yeah.
Can you read it in the back row? Okay. And can you see it even though I'm sitting here and blocking your field of vision?
Can someone open a window as well?
Yeah.
Sorry.
So I set the color, fill the rectangle, and then I'll update the screen. So
Kör det där bakom också.
then I press the green arrow to run it. And this is the MoSync emulator, okay, which has most of what's in MoSync. So some of the stuff like the native UI things, they are only available on Android and iPhone as it is now. So that I cannot show here. Okay, so you get the hang of it, and there are different type of callback events here. These are for key presses. Let's see if we can find something for touch when you press with a finger. See if I can find this here. I pressed F3 to get to the moblet class. Yeah, here it is, pointer pressed event. So we can make it so that each time the pointer is pressed, you paint something. Very simple demo. And you get the point here as the parameter. And you have eclipse completion and so on, so p.x and p.y. And now we run and compile, yeah, and now I should be able to place. So this gives you some idea of the the basic MoSync development environment. And in the API there is also a user interface library that's not based on native UI, a custom user interface library. And there is networking and Bluetooth, and a camera API is is the next thing we are going to implement. And there is a sensor API and geolocation and so forth.
So you're saying if you want to code buttons and tabbers and stuff,
yeah,
what do you do then?
Then I use something called MAUI, which stands for Mobile Author User Interface, which is a widget library. Or I use the native UI components. Or maybe I use a mixture of them. I mean, it's always this trade-off. If I want to do something cross-platform, it's difficult to do something that works perfectly both with a touchscreen and with a keypad and a joypad. So if you want to do things really well, maybe you have to do some tweaks for each type of interface.
But you would still try to make this the same project, but would you produce different binary?